Renanim, ¿cómo está? And hello, welcome back to another episode of Grace Daily. Glad to have you with us today. Hosted by Grace International Baptist Church here in Chuuk, Micronesia. If you have not done so already, I would invite you to like, subscribe, and share so that the message can go out and reach as many people as possible. Today, as we continue through what we're looking at with sanctification this week, remember our main text for this coming Sunday will be Philippians chapter 3, verses 1 through 11. Today, we're looking at Philippians 3, verses 2 and 3. Paul says this, "Beware of dogs, beware of evil workers, beware of the concision. For we are the circumcision, which worship God in the Spirit, and rejoice in Christ Jesus, and have no confidence in the flesh." I remember camping with my family one time when I was a little boy, and I was by a stream when I saw something shiny in the water. And so I pulled it out, and I was thrilled with the fact that I had found a giant chunk of gold. And I was going to be rich forever, and it was just the coolest thing. And that was all until my dad said that I had actually picked up something called pyrite, or fool's gold. And it's a rock that looks shiny, looks like gold, but it has absolutely no value whatsoever. So, Paul uses what is called an articular noun. And basically it means that there's a specific circumcision that he's talking about. Not one of the circumcisions, not a circumcision, but the circumcision. Why would he bring this up? And this is where our illustration comes in. There was something that was real and genuine and had value, and then there was something that looked like it would offer value and reality, but in reality, it wasn't. And that's where we're going to talk about today. Let's remember the last thing that we're supposed to beware of, right? In English, it either says mutilation or concision. In Greek, the word is katatomen, okay? Katatomen. And essentially, it has the idea of cutting off or cutting down. It's kind of this very graphic word. And it's a play on the word circumcision. And the word for circumcision is peritomen. So you hear katatomen, peritomen. Means to cut around. And it's the real word for circumcision that was instituted with Abraham back in the Hebrew Bible. So then what's Paul getting at here? Paul is setting up the difference between living by legalism, okay, the pyrite, the fool's gold, it looks real, but it's not, and then living by faith. The Judaizers were teaching that in order to save, or to, in order to be saved, or in order to, if you are saved, in order to please God, that these Philippian Christians would have to be circumcised. And because this was an addition to the gospel of Jesus Christ, Paul doesn't even give it the dignity of being called circumcision, but rather mutilation. It would have done them absolutely no good to have undergone circumcision because it wouldn't have saved them any more, or it wouldn't have made them any more right with God. And so in essence, it was useless. We can look at other of Paul's writings about this doctrine in Romans 4, verses 9 through 12. He says, does this blessedness come then upon the circumcision only, or upon the uncircumcision also? For we say that faith was reckoned or counted unto Abraham for righteousness. How then was this faith counted? When he was in circumcision, or in uncircumcision? Well, he wasn't in circumcision when he had faith, but in uncircumcision. And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had yet being uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also, or counted unto them also. And the father of circumcision to them who are not of the circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had being yet uncircumcised. Hang with me. Even back in Romans 2, Paul says that true circumcision is this circumcision of the heart. So before Christ, physical circumcision for the Jewish people, or anybody wanting to convert into that faith, was extremely important. But it was also only a sign and a symbol of inward faith. Even then, it wasn't circumcision saving them, it was faith that was saving them, and circumcision with the sign, much in the same way that faith saves us, and baptism is a symbol of that faith. After Christ, the circumcision was no longer needed, and Paul says that now Christians, whether Jew or Gentile, are the real circumcision, or we are the real people of faith. And those that are living in genuine gospel faith worship God in the Spirit. We rejoice in Christ, and we have no confidence in the flesh. So how do we apply this teaching today? This circumcision and non-circumcision, and this concision and versus and mutilation, what does all this apply to us today? The Judaizers were teaching that in order to be saved, or in order to be right with God, they had to do this thing from the law. And they were adding to the gospel. Anything that we do to save ourselves, or after we are saved, to seek to gain God's approval or blessing or a special status in His sight, it's like mutilation. It's harmful and not helpful. So today, we can rejoice in the fact that by grace alone, through faith alone, we can rest in the promise that we don't have to be satisfied with fool's gold. We have the real thing. Jesus Christ is enough. Our faith placed in Him satisfies Him. And we don't have to add to the gospel to make Him happy. Grace and peace, my friends.